Since the dawn of time, Marvel continuity has always been super strict. But sometimes events don't go the way they were intended. These are the branched timelines.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the first installment of Branched Timelines, the gameplay series where I will be playing Marvel Champions, a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games, and celebrating the unsung heroes of the game, the modular encounter sets. What that means is that in every scenario, I will be taking out the recommended encounter sets and substituting them for thematic replacements. This is by no means groundbreaking, as it's a part of the game, but something that I think is not talked about enough, and can be used as a tool to augment the difficulty of any scenario. And in this series, hopefully I'll be hitting on different thematic elements of these core encounters. And unlike Asgard versus the Universe, this series will be focusing on one game in each installment. Probably. That also means that there's no guarantee that there will be a victory in any of these games. There's no guarantee that there's going to be any victories ever, let's be honest. In this installment, we are going up against the Red Skull, with a substituted encounter sets of State of Emergency and Zero Tolerance. The thematics here being that the Red Skull has taken over the United States with the use of the Sentinel program, resulting in a lot of unrest in the streets. And I by no means believe this is an impossible challenge. In fact, there's probably players watching this right now who are looking at it and already can gauge what's going to be important going forward with the scenario and what ideal heroes can take it on. This scenario will be putting a lot of side schemes into play, and we need to be able to mitigate that as much as possible. This week, we're going to be using Scarlet Witch in a Justice Aspect build to try to defeat Red Skull. The one caveat being that this is not a one way or another deck, because the side schemes are housed in their own separate side scheme deck. Instead, we're going to be trying our best to have a consistent stream of thwarting to enable us to hopefully not get too far behind on side scheme management. Wanda is on my personal Mount Rushmore of Marvel Champions heroes. There's just something about living on the edge that is a nice alternative to some of my other favorite heroes. For this attempt, my opening hand is Agatha Harkness, Power in All of Us, Scarlet Witch's Crest, Modular Decay, Hexbolt, and Clear the Area. Weighing my options, I choose to keep Hexbolt, Clear the Area, and the Crest, as the first concern of this scenario is getting the Red House side scheme off the board. This is also a relevant time to talk about Hexbolt, as it will time and time again prove to be one of the best cards in a Scarlet Witch deck. The conundrum that we're facing is that Hexbolt on its own could clear out everything and maybe deal a little bit of damage to Red Skull. But the worst case scenario is that it doesn't clear out any threat and can't deal any damage to Red Skull. And I guess maybe not draw me a card. That would be the worst case scenario, I suppose. But on the other side, it could draw me a card that I could use as a resource to play Clear the Area, which means that the sequencing is incredibly important. We are threading a needle, and this is the first turn. Not even the first turn. This is mulligans. My new cards are Monica Chang, Magic Shield, and Justice Served. My first action is to use Wanda's super-powered Siblings ability. I discard Magic Shield and Monica Chang and draw into Hexbolt and Chaos Magic. I then change to my hero form and thwart the Red House before playing Justice Served and Clear the Area, removing the Red House and drawing Determination. I then discard Justice Served and ready Scarlet Witch. So once again, we are dealing with chaos. None of what I just did was anything that I planned for when I was looking at my opening hand prior to mulligans. So much of what Scarlet Witch is capable of and her deck building package is capable of is so dependent on contextually what is in your hand every turn. So something like a Justice Served readying back up Scarlet Witch can really change the context. All of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I can use a basic thwart with my hero because I'll still be able to make a basic attack and see some form of forward motion on the damage front. I then play Hexbolt, discarding a single boost icon, 2, and then 0, meaning that I will be able to remove 2 threat, not really, draw a card, and deal 2 damage. Since the single boost icon is useless, I elect to use Chaos Control to substitute it for another single boost icon. At different stages of the game, Hexbolt's abilities can be utilized in the order of my choice, but in this case, there's really no gray area to just drawing into a card, in this case, clear the area, and dealing some damage to Red Skull. I then get one more damage in on Red Skull, taking him to 9 hit points and readying back up, drawing into Overwatch, Surveillance Team, and Magic Shield. The new side scheme is Feisty Heist, which causes me to discard the highest cost card in my hand, in this case Surveillance Team. I take an undefended attack at a base of 1, revealing an additional point of damage and a star icon that gives Red Skull a tough status. My encounter card is Infinite Power, which means that Red Skull would have gotten a tough status card regardless, and he attacks me once more. I try my luck and get away with 2 more damage, leaving me at 6 hit points. On my turn, I use a copy of Overwatch to play Magic Shield and clear the main scheme with Clear the Area. Drawing into Justice Served, I then change into my alter ego form, ditching Justice Served and drawing a full hand of Quicksilver, Power in All of Us, Lay the Trap, Determination, Clear the Area, and Modular Decay. I consider this a bit of a whiff because right now I'm just digging for Deft Focus or Sorcerer Supreme, either of which is going to make this game a lot more manageable. During the villain phase, the side scheme is Hot Pursuit, which discards the top of the encounter deck until a minion comes into play, in this case, Hydra Exo Soldier, and the Red Skull schemes for 4. At this point, I think I made a mistake, and it's completely not in my favor. I'd missed the acceleration icon on Feisty Heist, and I think I overcompensated for that correction, ultimately having Red Skull scheme for 6 or more. We have to live with our mistakes, and this is certainly one of them. But on to the next main scheme, which puts a side scheme into play. That side scheme being the Sleeper Awakened, thus putting another high-profile minion into play. That's chaos, baby. On my turn, Wanda uses superpowered siblings to discard Quicksilver and the Power in All of Us and draw into Surveillance Team and another Modular Decay. I change to hero form and clear the tough status off of the Sleeper, then play Clear the Area with Determination, throwing away Hot Pursuit and drawing into Genius. At a moment like this, I really wish that I was in Aggression and had access to Marked, so that my damage coming off of Modular Decay would have overkill. Regardless, I play Modular Decay on the Sleeper, dealing 5 damage. I really wish that I was in Aggression and had access to Marked. Yeah, never mind. I then play out Lay the Trap and ready back up, drawing into Heroic Intuition, Under Surveillance, Skilled Investigator, Professor X, and Mockingbird. The main scheme goes up to 3 of 11, and the side scheme for this round is Operation Zero Tolerance. Red Skull attacks me for 3, and I discard Magic Shield to prevent the damage. Then the Hydra Exo Soldier attacks me down to 4. And my encounter card is Infinite Power. Again. Reminding me that I still haven't addressed the tough status, and making me defend against an attack that ultimately hits me for 1. But this also has the boost ability that resolves all when revealed abilities on side schemes in play, which should have caused me to discard Mockingbird or Professor X, but I didn't. Which is fine, because, spoiler alert, I will not be committing either one of them to the board anytime soon. I play out Skilled Investigator and attach Under Surveillance to the main scheme, putting me at 3 of 15 threat. I then ready back up, drawing Quinn Carrier, Jessica Jones, Deft Focus, the Sorcerer Supreme, and Hexbolt. During the villain phase, the threat goes up to 5 of 15, and the side scheme is Mass Chaos, milling my remaining 4 cards and accruing 3 threat. I shuffle my deck back together and get a face-down encounter card. The Red Skull schemes for 3, then the Exo Soldier schemes, bringing me up to 10 of 15 threat. My encounter card is Assault, which surges into Energy Barrier, which surges into Citywide Crisis. I discard my Skilled Investigator.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
sure why would we play this game at all correct. And Mass Chaos mills the top 5 cards from my deck, accruing 4 more threat on a scheme that has a crisis icon on it. Finally, my second encounter card is Bitter Rival, Exhausting Wanda. This is a very compromised situation. I've considered just staying in alter ego form to heal back some of the damage, but I just can't. There's far too much threat on the table, and the combination of the villain and the minion would no doubt threat out on the main scheme. On my turn, I use Wanda's ability to discard Quinn Carrier and Professor X, drawing into Justice Served and Monica Chang. I change to my hero form and play Deft Focus. Then I throw a Hail Mary. Hexbolt. I reveal 3 0 boost icon cards, one of which is a side scheme, and that should really be in the side scheme deck, so I'll just replace that with a 3 boost icon card. Unfortunately, I can't confuse the Red Skull and change back to Wanda this turn. I choose to give Scarlet Witch a tough status and clear the tough on the enemies via the damage output. And that's going to be it for my turn. I discard the Sorcerer Supreme because, unfortunately, it's too little too late. And draw into Quicksilver, Agatha Harkness, Hexbolt, and Chaos Magic. The new side scheme is Disaster at the Docks, which will deal 3 indirect damage to me. I have no ally that can soak up the damage at the moment, and after realizing that I can't make any more defensive moves and still survive, I just have to call it for this attempt. So what can we learn from this entire experience? I don't know that I've ever played a perfect game of anything, let alone Marvel Champions. So it's easy to look at the mistakes that were made and just write them off as wrong place, wrong time. But I think even in games that we win, there are going to be plenty of times when we just play sloppy. What kept going through my head as I was letting this episode marinate was trying to figure out where I sat with the justice aspect and Hexbolt within the confines of the scenario. I'm going to give it another try in the future. Maybe even with the exact same deck, just to give it a fair shake. But I do think that I want to put some thought into how important Hexbolt is, how important Clear the Area is, and are they cards that I want on the first turn. And then there's Molecular Decay, which ideally I think that I want to save exclusively for dealing damage to Red Skull. And I think that if the Treachery order had come down a little bit differently this game, it's entirely possible that I would have made it to stage 2. But as a trade-off, that also means that the game would have gotten harder, and honestly, I just don't know if I really could have dug myself out of the situation that I was finding myself in the twilight turns of this game. But in terms of an exploratory attempt, I'm happy to be able to kind of Monday morning quarterback this one and figure out what's going to be the best steps going forward. I thank you for making it all the way to the end. Hopefully you want to subscribe, and maybe even want to throw a comment down just telling me what I did right, what I did wrong, and what heroes you would use to try to solve this particular issue with the Red Skull using the Sentinels and that general state of emergency. Until next time, I'll see you later. Thank you. Let me stay away from the window, please. Can we go lie down? Can we go lie down? Please? Please, for just a little bit? I just need some time, sweetie.